1, 2, is this on? Yo, Jimmy, hit me with that Triple H. Yeah, you let the music keep playing, Mr. Dumb. Yo, tell me whose time it is now. Yeah, just kicking it up here. Sometime, yo, here comes trouble. Not gonna listen to anybody. Tell me who and what to be. Not trying to be like everybody. Time to play with make believe. 'Cause I'm the blind, the blind, the blind. I'll die, this time. I'll die.
You know, honestly, it's been a while since I played that theme song, and it's for a special reason. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this special edition of the Game Changer Podcast. I am NateFNGreat, the paladin of positivity, the man that will bring you greatness wherever you may go. And I'm being joined here by the lovely, the very fashionable, the ever so wonderfully, very British, but also somebody who brings tea time anytime she goes, and it's the proper tea, if you know what I mean. That being SoCal Val, ladies and gentlemen, good to have you here.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I loved it that song plays us in because it's just absolutely nostalgia vibes running wild. My favorite theme of all time, as you know. How are you, Nate?
I am doing very good. Like we said before the show, definitely been trying to keep some of my sanity intact. I've been keeping busy, definitely. Some businesses are slowly opening up over here, but we're not quite back to the full 100% ready to go back kind of deal. But, you know, it's just a crazy time for us right now.
It sure is. And you know, it's interesting. I was just on a blogger meeting today, and the girls and I were saying, like, gosh, you know, some of them were saying, you know, is it silly to keep doing what we're doing and posting and doing our vodcasts and doing our posts? And I said, you know what? If anyone was to give anyone slack about that, I'm the type of person that goes, listen, there are a lot of people that are entertaining me with you know, shows and creative stuff online. So no one should stop doing what they're doing. In fact, I think it's made people even more creative. So if this show and some of the other shows I've been doing, you know, like with Melina, we did a little interview. If stuff like that can entertain people and take their mind off of things, I mean, that's what the name of the game is.
No, definitely. I agree with you. And I will say this, that even though there's a lot of people that don't quite understand the thing that is TikTok, I even look at some things and I'm like, what exactly is this deal that I am looking at? I think there was actually a point where I was sitting down with my mother and we were actually watching some people do like TikTok videos, and they even interviewed like one person who had like almost like maybe 2 million followers on her TikTok channel or something like that. And
oh, wow.
I know, it's crazy. It's one of those things where I look at this, I'm like, wow, they're being creative during this time, but at the same time, just really? people get famous.
Really?
people get famous for really dumb things. I mean, we wouldn't know, but there are just some things where it's just like, really, they get famous because of this, because of one video, because of this or something like that. At least have a talent like Brian Hall, where he's doing like impressions of Disney characters and putting on a show, or be like SoCal Val, who literally is traveling all around the world, doing wrestling shows, doing commentary, actually putting on something crazy and wonderful. As you also mentioned, you know, one thing that you did was a bit of a, I guess you said it was an interview with Melina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Did you see it? It was all Tea Party themed, and you know what? It was something that we've talked about doing more and more. And we did, the first little episode was actually a part of Wrestle Talk. So if you guys are listening and you're not familiar with Wrestle Talk, check them out on YouTube. They have our first interview, and then we decided to do it. We were going to kind of carry it on anyway, but especially with, you know, our schedules being so free, we thought, why not bring it back? And you know what? We got such a great response that we might make it a weekly thing. We're talking about doing some, you know, some cross-promoting on Patreon, so, you know, there's definitely more to come from she and I together. I think we make a great team, and people seem to like our banter back and forth, so why not, you know, continue it?
No, definitely. If it's one of those things you love to do, definitely do it. And I said it on Twitter. It's like, oh, my two besties are just having the time of their life. This is one of those things I was not expecting, and honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's entertaining, it's fun, definitely want to see more of this. It's kind of funny because I think some people, when you mentioned Wrestle Talk, they're more focused on the stuff that they've been doing, which has been like top 10 lists because Adam Blampier is back, or some of the stuff they've done with Parts of Unknown. And even the Quizzlemania stuff, where recently the third Quizzlemania deal that they had, they already have a new Quizzlemania champion, that being the man with regrets, Brian Zane. Definitely check that out. It's quite entertaining to see that. But honestly, it's one of those things that definitely does kind of keep me going, keep me kind of entertained, especially when they have all those categories. Have you gotten a chance to see any of the Quizzlemanias from Wrestle Talk?
No, I actually only heard about it recently because someone commented on my Instagram and said, and yes, I do read my comments, and they said something like, when are we going to see you on Quizzlemania? And I said, oh, what's that? And then I was given a link to it. And, those guys are so creative, and they're such a fun group. And what's cool about them being an online, platform is that they can still carry on, even though everyone's, self-isolating right now. And that's what you have to do. You have to keep busy. And like you said, it's something fun for you to watch. And for me, I watch all sorts of Instagram lives and Instagram stories and YouTubes and things like that. I like watching helpful things. There's so many bloggers I follow, and I love their content. And I love when they do videos about, how to work from home successfully and tips and tricks and yoga videos and all kinds of things. So, what we have to entertain ourselves with is online features. So I'm happy that I can provide some and, watch a million of them as well. And dog videos and just silliness is what I love watching too.
Dog videos. Oh man.
Yeah.
So have you done any of those videos where it's like try not to smile or laugh challenge, be a dog edition or something like that?
No, but I should do it tonight, actually. I did get asked to do, these challenges are running rampant, aren't they?
They are.
A friend of mine had a red wine challenge, and you have to, fill a whole, I think it's pretty much a half glass or maybe more, depending on your tolerance. I could probably do a bottle of red wine, and you have to just chug it. And I told her I would do it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll get to it. That was 2 days ago, and now I'm feeling the pressure. So if you're going to be nominated for a challenge, I know Medusa nominated me for a squat challenge. I love her, but I'm like, that sounds like a little work. So wine challenge is more for me. And we've also been doing, hashtags and stuff on my Instagram. You'll notice we're doing, we're all tagging each other to do things like Shoe Fee Saturday, show us a favorite pair of shoes, and, Jimmy Kimmel's doing hashtag Formal Friday. So everyone's just keeping it light and fun, and I think that's what you have to do in a time like this.
Light fun until they get to the point where it's just too much of the same thing. There's okay, let's step it up a notch. Let's have some more deals, and then we have the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge brought back again in a second carnation.
Oh gosh, that was a big one, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, I do remember so many people getting involved with that. Even Vince McMahon getting the chance to do that was absolutely insane. I've seen so many people kind of step it above and beyond. They have those huge trucks or cherry picker. No, not. Oh gosh, what are those things called? The diggers. They usually stuff those filled with water and ice, and they just dump it on them. It's one of those things where it's wow, that's commitment. I just did a trash can.
Exactly. It's there's some that are oh, it's kind of funny. Then other ones actually take a lot of work, or they're really the ice thing. That's heavy. That's a lot.
It's one of those things where you don't want to get nominated for it, but then the moment you did, it's just one of those things where it's you did it. It was for a good cause, so why not just get it done and done. I will say this, that I actually did it immediately after when I was working at one of my old jobs at Sam's Club. So there's a video of literally me and my coworkers. They dumped the they dropped the trash can of ice water on me.
We're going to need to see this, Nate. We're going to need to see this for sure.
I will see if I can dig it up. I'm pretty sure I have it up on my YouTube channel, but I will definitely send you the link so you can just watch me. I think it's the only time I've ever worn my Bad News Barrett t-shirt, so I might have to tag him with that. So I think that is the only time I had it, because I think I remember maybe a few months later it got Clorox on it, so you know how that's like.
Oh no!
You get the bleach
that's
on
bad news, all right.
It was the worst news I could have had. You get a little bit of bleach on it, and it goes from black to orange for some reason. I don't know. I'm not a laundry expert, but at least I know how to get my stuff cleaned.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. Just the basics. That's what I know too.
I also have been one of those people that has been looking at other things as far as, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember some of the things I've gotten a chance to do. I've got the chance to hang out with my family, especially during Easter time. So unfortunately, we weren't able to enjoy, the usual festivities of capturing eggs and stuff like that, but, getting a chance to talk with family. Me and my brother, we got a chance to reminisce about some of the stuff that we did as kids, and it's just one of those things we kind of look back at like, wow, we were messed up as kids, weren't we?
What were we thinking back then? My sisters and I did the same thing. What were we thinking? What were we wearing? I mean, God, if you look at these memories, you're just like, it's so funny. I don't know about you, Nate, but, like, I feel like I've gotten better at communicating, like, with friends and family with this going on. Like, I talk to girlfriends here and there, but, we use Boxer quite a bit. And I've been talking to, people that I would talk to once in a while. Now I talk to almost every night. We're all in different time zones. It's people like me talking to Lisa and Melina and Mickey and all my friends. And it's just been so nice to have more time to catch up with people, I think.
It is one of those things where this thing feels like it's a bit of a curse, but as you mentioned it, with this much communication, it is a bit of a blessing. Because you get the chance, maybe text with them, maybe do FaceTime, get the chance to just see some of the great stuff that they've been doing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, you have to take a huge negative in this point and turn it into a major positive. Now, for some people, it might just be doing the FaceTime deals and doing, like, board games, stuff like that. If you have somebody that's, like, nearby and you know that they're healthy, like a couple of my friends, we've been definitely hanging out more, planning some stuff. We actually had a night where we were just, playing board games and drinking. It was one of those things like, oh gosh, I actually forgot that we used to do this kind of stuff, and it's fun. It's one of those things where it's like, wow, we just drunk, we shot the breeze, played some other random deals. Yes, we did play stuff like Cards Against Humanity and also Never Have I Ever.
Oh, so fun! It kind of slows you down, and like people, like we used to play cards once in a while. Like I haven't done that in ages.
Did you ever play like Canasta, poker, all those kind of classic games?
Canasta, no. Poker, I've always kind of wanted to know how to play it, and a lot of my friends are doing the online poker where like your face is seen. You know what I'm talking about, like live poker.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. I just don't know the rules enough at all to play. But my grandmother and I used to always play War. I don't know if you've played War before. And I used to love Solitaire. And there's oh my God, Crazy Eights and all these crazy games. And then there's another game called BS, which we've played here in many an English pub, and it is so funny to play with people, especially because you're supposed to lie about what you have, and there are so many times so I think it's called BS, yeah, when to play with somebody that is not a good liar is hysterical. Like, we have a friend that, like, his face just gets so red, and he's, like, so obviously lying about his hand, and he giggles, and it's just so funny to call people out, and he loses every single time.
Kind of reminds me of like Ernie from the George Lopez show, where anytime he has like really good cards, he just starts giggling and laughing, and everybody's just like fold.
That's him. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Yeah, and it's so funny though, because all those things that like and just stuff that I've wanted to do that I haven't had the time to. Like, I will say this. I was saying to my girlfriends today that they said, "Oh, it's just been so nice to have a bath and read books," and I'm like, I didn't say this to them, but they're all British, and I thought, I don't know what it is with British people and baths. They love a freaking bath. I don't know. I can't stand it. I love making a bath. Once I'm in there, I'm like, oh my God, I need to get out. I've done a few bubble bath photo shoots, and like as soon as I was done, I'm out of there. I just hate it. I don't like being bored. I don't like, just the hot water being hot. It just makes me so crazy. And reading a book, I've realized that I don't really read unless I'm traveling somewhere and I have nothing else to do. Like, if I'm on a train or a plane, I will read mostly magazines or a book, rarely. But it's just something I don't like doing. But, for me, there's so many other things that I've wanted to do. Like, I'm now redecorating my entire dressing room. It's like I finally have my dream dressing room. It's almost done. I've got my, decorated around the house. I've downloaded a new app to learn French. I signed up for a year. So, just trying to work on myself, working out more, and just being healthy. You're either going to come out of this quarantine either, like, better and more mindful and maybe healthier, or it's going to be like, oh my God, all I've done is sit around and eat donuts, which sometimes, some days that's all you want to do, which is understandable.
Well, I mean, Rosemary and Allie like to do that all the time, especially with their, series, Masters of the Multiverse. They usually have been talking about how they like to go to Dunkin' Donuts, stuff like that, and I've even thought about the idea of actually getting them, like, some kind of get like coupon or gift cards or something like that, just so that they can get donuts and coffee.
I love donuts. I don't love myself half that much, but I love donuts. I'm not even a sweets person, but my last cheat day, I did a pizza night and I had nachos for lunch, and it was the most wonderful day. in the world.
Oh man! Anytime you have a pizza night, it's always going to be absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
I will say this. One of the things that's kind of crazy was the fact that I think one kind of crazy fact that we had going on, which is, you know what? Hold on. All right, guys. So we are back. For those that are kind of wondering why I'm saying that right now, because I had to actually take a phone call from a family member, my brother, because we were just talking about pizza. Hey, apparently we want to do a pizza deal for the whole family. So, pizza time all around. Pizza is the universal language of love, apparently.
It really is, and I think that's the universe telling you that it is time for you to indulge in some pizza pie.
It was crazy because they're actually ordering out. I thought they were saying, like, oh, can you go get some pizza? I said, well, I got some in the freezer right now. I was like, no, we're getting professional pizza. Oh, that's
oh my
different.
God, I love that you call it professional pizza. Hashtag, that's our hashtag for today's show, professional pizza.
Hashtag pro pizza boys.
Pro pizza.
Oh my gosh. I love doing shows with you, Val. It's always a blessing. It's always a ray of sunshine.
You know what's funny? I was thinking that before we even started, like, we're already, like, giggling, and it's a giggle fest before you start recording, but it's a giggle fest throughout, so it's a win-win.
And, you know, I will say this. There was a bit. I do have a story from actually last night. So,
oh my God.
I had that other bottle of the bubbly. Thank you, Chris Jericho, for that. And I'm that crazy person that drank the whole entire bottle, not realizing that it would affect me. It was one of those things where I started getting lightheaded. I started getting woozy. I'm like, wow, this thing is a lot stronger than I thought it was. And my cousin was in the same room. He's just looking at me. He's just laughing like, dude, are you okay? It's like, totally fine. Totally.
Really, you okay?
It's like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I was able to coordinate with the TV and everything, and I was sitting down for a while. I was like, okay, just going to sit here. We're not going to move. We're not going to do anything crazy. Just let the thing kind of settle itself. I don't think it was until I got into bed, maybe about half an hour later, that it started settling, but it was like...
Oh, no. Was it champagne or Prosecco?
I think it might have been champagne. It's a little bit of bubbly by Chris Jericho.
Yeah, because people have different reactions to Prosecco and champagne. I think because Prosecco is so sugary that sometimes it gives people more of like a headache, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, this didn't really give me that much of a headache. It was just one of those things where it's like, wow, I actually feel bubbly, pun intended.
That's why people like it.
It was a good time, and like I said, I didn't do anything stupid, so that's...
You already have a bubbly personality, I can't even imagine.
I think it was even more bubbly when I had all that bubbly, so...
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, I'm not going
What
to...
a rock star.
Bubbly rock star, NateFNGreat. I mean, we have to add that to the long list of nicknames that you've given me. Petty Guerrero. Oh gosh, what was that one time?
Oh, that's right.
I think there was one time where you just tried to say my full name, and I forgot what the middle name that you gave me was. But it was
guarantee I can tell you what it is. It's my favorite, Louise.
Oh, that's right. It was Louise.
Nathaniel Louise.
It was one of those.
Like if you're in trouble, that's what someone would. Nathaniel Louise. How dare you?
Oh man, that's just one of those things where it's like it's not even my middle name, but the way that you say it was just like, okay, I'm in court.
You come to court.
Come to court.
Oh my God! Yeah, I love that name. I just think it's actually I have a friend that is her middle name, which is funny because I just think it sounds so like middle namey. I don't know.
It just has a little bit of it has a click to it. It's just one of those things where either you're used to it or you just heard it somewhere, so it's just kind of one of those things where it's like it comes naturally. Who knows at this point? But all right, so one thing that I definitely wanted to do was that I had an article pulled up, especially for my lovely guest SoCal Val, because this was something that I just looked at and I thought to myself, okay, there's some discussions talked about here. So the article that is here, this is from therichest.com, where basically it's an article talking about why you shouldn't date a woman who's a professional wrestler. So they have 15 reasons as to why. Some of these reasons I'm like, okay, I can understand that point because there's really good reasons behind it. And honestly, I'm friends with a couple of professional wrestlers. I can understand this 100% completely. But I thought it would be kind of cool to go through this entire list and get your thoughts on this, Val, because you are indeed somebody who has been in the ring, whether it's been willingly or unwillingly, slammed down. Hashtag thank you, Abyss.
Yeah, thanks for that one, dude. Oy. Now, who wrote this list? Is it like a woman, a guy? Is it a fan?
I don't know exactly. It doesn't. I didn't get a chance to really see who exactly was the author behind this, but it's one of those things where when I look at it, I think it was written by a dude, but maybe by the end of it, we'll basically have like a guess as to who wrote it. Maybe it is a dude. Maybe it's a woman. We'll find out at the end. So let's start this list off. Number 15. She gets to grab other hot women, but you don't.
That is true. That is very true. And you know what's scary? This might be another thing on the list. All of her friends are going to be like super hot, badass babes. Like all of them. All of them.
I mean, you list about like how many friends that you have that are, babylicious, as I like to call it.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, like I've brought Melina and Lisa, who have both stayed with me and who are very good friends of mine, to England. And of course, my husband had met he hadn't met either one of them actually before they got here. I think he might have met Melina briefly, but
I think you told me this story.
Someone like them, yeah. And I was like, I said Lisa's like the nicest, most wonderful version of crazy ever, because we're all crazy. And he was like, that was the perfect way to describe her. But like bringing these girls into we live in about a half hour north of England, and we my God, north of England, half hour north of London. So we're in like a smaller-ish town, and then we go to an even smaller town to go to little pubs. And, kind of a sleepy town, a lot of older people and stuff. And that's just kind of how pubs are over here, right? So, these are just my friends. Like, even in Orlando, I don't think people would bat an eyelash that much to see someone like Lisa Melina walk in. I mean, everyone just stares at them because of how gorgeous they are. But it's a little more, normal. In LA, there's a lot of models, no big deal. But here, walking into the pub with someone like Lisa and someone like Melina and just watching the heads turn, it is so funny. And then they hear we're American. We're obviously, not only, they think Americans are loud anyway, but we're cackling and giggling because we haven't seen each other in ages. And it's just the most, we just take over the bar no matter what we do, because we look so out of place. And they never met, any of my friends. And all my friends that have come over here have been wrestlers that are just gorgeous babes, vivacious, voluptuous babes. And they're like, what the hell? Sure, they like it, but it's still a shock.
That just sounds amazing. I think there was one story that he told me when we met up last year at WrestleMania. Hard to believe that already it's been a year since WrestleMania in New York. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I could maybe misspoke or something like that. But it's one of those stories where I think maybe Victoria or somebody jokingly said to your hubby, said you heard Val. Just know that we can kick your ass. Something along those lines.
That would be Lisa. That is such a Lisa phrase, and I love it. And it's so funny because, it's true. Who would want to mess with any of those girls? They'd kill them. And what's horrible is, not horrible, but people can't help themselves because then, they did it to me when I first moved here. Now everyone knows me, so, then they'll go, oh, who's Paige's friend? Or, a lot of people will say Paige or Val. And they'll go, oh, my God, that's, so-and-so from wrestling. And then they have to Google them. They just have to. They can't help but to, Google their name. And, of course, when you Google them, their whole, image section is just bikinis and babe pictures. And it's just, and then the rest of the night's just so awkward and weird because then people get drunk and they're like, wow. It's so funny. You're used to us by now, though, Nate. You've hung out before, and it's it's just Lisa, it's just Val, it's just Mickey. Who cares?
I mean, there's still points where I get starstruck by some of these women. I actually said this past week that my WCW, my Woman Crush Wednesday, was Amy Dumas Lita, and one of the things that actually happened during that WrestleMania weekend was the fact that I was looking for my Uber driver, and I kept on going up down the same street trying to find them, and standing right there was Trish and Lita, and I didn't want to bother them, but it was still one of those things where it's I'd still like to at least say, hi. So,
yeah, big fan. How are you? Yeah, I met Trish, and I was a friggin' mark. I was crazy. I cried afterwards.
It was awesome meeting them, but just getting a chance to say oh, hi Trish, hi Lita. They both were nice. They both said hi, and then after that, I was just you know what? We're walking the other way. They're busy. Don't mess with them. I'm one of those fans that respects privacy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But getting back to this deal, yeah. Especially if you have one of the hottest women in all the world, why would you want to grab another woman anyway? I'm just saying.
Good point. Well said.
So, number 14, and this might be where we get into the huff and puff kind of situation, which literally says on the top of the article, I swear to you, it says, only one of you should have man hands. Let me start by saying that every single time I met any of the women here, whether it's been Rosemary, Allie, Brit Baker, SoCal Val, never in my life have I ever said, oh, this woman is so beautiful, but she has such horrible man hands. No.
Yeah, that's such a crazy thing to say and to notice.
It's one of those things where it's like, so what if they have man hands? More than likely, they just have to put on a little nail polish and it covers it up, no problem. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't judge a woman by their hands. I've never done that. Because I know those hands are very lethal.
Exactly. You know what those hands can do. Have you ever seen Shallow Hal?
I've never even heard of it, honestly.
It's funny. It's with Gwyneth Paltrow and Jack Black.
Okay.
And I believe it's Jack Black. Yeah, and so there's a scene where Jack Black, I believe it's Jack. But anyway, there's a scene where one of the guys is so picky about women, and this beautiful, like, supermodel-looking girl comes up. She's got, like, big boobs and blonde hair, and she's riding her bike, and she's kind of, like, foreign. She sounds a little German, just a supermodel, probably played by a supermodel. And and he's like, she's flirting with him, and then she goes off on her bike, and his friend was like, dude, what are you? And he's kind of being rude to her, and the guy's like, dude, do you know that girl? Like, she's beautiful. Why didn't you hit on her? She was trying to flirt with you, and the guy was like, well, yeah, she has one of those weird toes. And he had a problem with one of her toes, and that was. But the whole movie is about that, about how people can be so shallow, and not to sound rude, but this guy was no treat. If he went out with this girl, people would be like, "Wow, that's a supermodel with a really, really average, dude." And that's the whole point of the scene, and the whole point of the movie is it's like some people can be so arrogant and so picky that I've been around guys like that so many times. They'll go, "Oh yeah, well she has this," and they'll pick out one little like physical attribute that's maybe not to their liking. It's like, you're such an ass. People are they can just be so rude,
No, definitely. I definitely do agree with you there. So, one of those things where I look at this and I just think to myself, A, there's a reason why they're making big bucks, and it's probably because of those quote-unquote man hands, and B, those man hands can definitely cause destruction. I mean, they're... I think people are going to be having a common theme, and that's going to be Victoria, aka Lisa, because a case in point there was there's a dual photo op that was going on at WrestleCon with Victoria and Gail Kim. When I did, it was one of those things where, I was calm, it was collective. When my friend Ricky went through, there's one picture where it's just calm and collective, and then there's a second one where Lisa's literally choking him. It's one of those things.
She loves doing pictures like that. It's so funny. She loves doing wrestling holds on people. It makes for a great, memorable picture.
Oh my gosh. Next time I see her, I'm going to ask her just to put me in some kind of wrestling hold and be like, hey, as long as you don't break a bone, can you just put me in one random wrestling hold? I'll just have. I
guess you will.
I will say this, that there was actually one point where I did do that during WrestleCon with Jordan Grace, and I actually said to her, next time we meet up, I want you to put me in a headlock for not taking a picture with you at the first Starcast, because after seeing her, it's like, man, she's absolutely amazing. So next time I see her is WrestleCon in New York, and I say to her, hey, could you just put me in a headlock? She's like, oh yeah, sure. And the first thing that she says, she usually puts her headlock in, is like, are your eyes looking at me? It's like, nope, they're looking straight ahead. Because I swear, if I was looking at anything else other than straight ahead, she probably could have popped my head off.
That's hilarious. And she's such a sweetheart, but yeah, she's a tough girl. It's like Gail. Like, Gail's little, and she's such a small person. She's petite, and she's such a sweetheart. But yeah, she would. I mean, if anyone were to get in a real fight, I wouldn't mess with Lisa or Gail or any of these girls. No way.
I would definitely want Gail Kim as backup if ever I were going into a fight. She would be. She would be number one. Number 13. She demands entrance music wherever she goes. I feel like that's just everything. That's not just wrestling, goes. I feel like every woman wants to have entrance music wherever they go, to be like, I've arrived. So
I don't know about you, but I always have entrance theme music playing in my head when I go anywhere. I kind of have different I listen to the Legally Blonde soundtrack in my head a lot. I have some of my past, Miss Hilton was one of my favorite songs to come out to. Oh yeah, Very, very sassy soundtrack going on in my innermost thoughts at all times.
I played
when I enter a room.
I played so many songs on repeat that they kind of just click anytime I go into a room. So yeah, I definitely do agree with you. So that's just one of those things where it's like, it's not just a man's deal. It's not just a woman's deal. Men do it too. They would love to just step into
yeah, the ego of wrestlers, my God, they're probably singing their own entrance themes.
I would love to see Shinsuke Nakamura just walking into like an Applebee's, and he's doing that dance that he usually does on his way to the ring, just to see. Oh my God.
He's so eccentric. I love it, and what a theme! I think that's one of the most beautiful themes they've ever had.
Oh, especially when they add the violin intro at the beginning. That's just one of those things where it's like, I actually remember the first time that came out. I actually, not even kidding you, melted out of my chair because it was so beautiful. It was that good.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, jeez. Man,
beautiful.
I feel bad for Nakamura. He deserved so much more.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even know he was with that he was in a stable of any kind until I watched. Was it Mania that he was? Sami Zayn was doing. I thought, what an eclectic group of dudes. And I mean, Cesaro, for God's sake, is one of the most talented, technically gifted wrestlers they have. You know, and it's just like, why again are these random stables? I wasn't into that.
Because that's good shit. Number 12, she may be tempted to break the rules. You know, this was one of those things where I looked at it and I thought to myself, you know, there's some times where I could see her doing that and being a good thing, but then there's some times where I could see it happening and it's a bad thing. And I think there's actually another point later on that'll definitely kind of bring this kind of full circle, but
yeah.
I mean, hey, some guys like a bad girl. Let's just say that.
Well, it keeps things interesting, I think, you know, and everyone's different. You know, it's like arguing. Like, some people actually totally enjoy, even if it's subconsciously, they enjoy like drama and they enjoy arguing. Like, I have a friend who, she and her boyfriend, I think it was her fiance actually, ages ago, they just argued. Like, it was embarrassing going places with them, and they were just arguing all the time. But they were very happy. It would stress me out to argue like that, but I mean, it worked for them. To each their own, I suppose.
Oh my God.
They were both kind of bad to each other, but hey, whatevs.
It almost sounds like one of those. It's like that scene from that '70s show where Hyde and his wife, they're basically just arguing throughout the entire episode, and then they have that split screen deal where Red and Kitty are just talking to them individually, and they explain basically the reason why they argue is that it gets them riled up, and next thing, and Sam just says flat out, we get naked and have hot, crazy sex. It's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe they got away with that. But that is awesome. So
yeah, who was doing the arguing? Was it who was arguing?
It was Hyde and his wife Sam, who was a stripper in Vegas.
Okay. Oh my God, that show's so funny. I love the mom. I forget her name, but she's, oh my God, she's so cute. Kitty, isn't? Yeah, that's what they call her. Kitty.
Yes, Kitty is an absolute mom for the ages, and I love
we can learn a lot from Kitty.
And then there's Red, who just is almost there's some people that can relate to Red as having that kind of dad in your life, but
yeah. My grandpa was a bit like that. You know what? That's why I asked, because I thought maybe you were referring to them having arguments like that, and I thought, oh God, I'm sure they don't want to think about their parents. Ooh.
Well, I mean, then the episode kind of ends with Kitty and Red kind of arguing, and then Red just is starting to run up the stairs, and he was like, I thought we were trying. And she's like, oh, she runs after him. They're just going upstairs. And it's like,
ew.
No, it was such a good episode. And then this happened. But that's what makes it entertaining.
That's what they leave you on. Oh, God.
So I'm going to ask you this question. With you having a hubby, have you been tempted to break the rules?
To break the rules? No. I'm
just the way you said that. I'm the kind of
person that, like, if someone was like, "Oh, let's steal this," or like I can't do it. I've always been the teacher's pet. Like, I don't know what we were trying. He was trying to do something funny, nothing like illegal, but it was something like, I don't know, something silly or a prank, and I was just like, no. Like, I always think we're gonna get found out. Someone's gonna get in trouble, and I am totally not that girl at all. I'm too much of a goody two shoes.
Oh my God. And it's really amazing because so many people have watched wrestling still through this day, and they're just like, oh, the characters online on the screen, they must be such, bitches and stuff like that off the screen. And then they come to find out, wow, they're actually like the sweetest people. That was my mindset with Melina for a long time, and then I met her in Milwaukee. It's like, I think she might be one of my favorite people of all time.
Yeah, and you know what? It seems a lot of times the ones that are the best heels are the ones that are the nicest. That's almost always the case. The ones that are really good heels, like the ones who are like the baby faces and stuff, a lot of times they have a huge ego, and it's not always the case, but it is very often.
No, definitely. So we're at number 11 now. The WWE universe is full of socially inept people. Well, you're going to deal with that whether you have fame or not. So not much really you can say about that. I'm sure you've had quite a bit of experience with socially inept people in your time.
Oh, for sure. And it's just, I think that's all to do with, that has nothing to do with wrestling. I think that's all to do with how someone was raised, and, you have people from all walks of life in wrestling. It's funny, all the connotations that people think, oh, people in wrestling are uneducated, or they're this and that, or the fans are, and the wrestlers are, and it's just like, you can't generalize any group of people. I've worked, in different fields, modeling. I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of really unintelligent models out there, and that's a stereotype, but that's, sometimes true, sometimes not. A lot of my best friends I've met through modeling, so, but then, of course, it's like any job. You're going to have people that don't have very good social skills, and, some that do, so, whoever wrote this list sounds very judgmental.
Just a little bit. Although, then we go into this next one, number 10. She has friends who can mess you up, which goes into a full circle situation with what we just talked about, like not even 2 minutes ago.
Well, yeah, but isn't that a good thing? Like, what if like I said, if you're in a bar fight, wouldn't you want to have, like, Gail and Lisa with you? Like, if things started to go badly, or, like, a guy was, like, groping a girl, they'd mess somebody up. I've seen the wrestlers many times get in fights that were well-deserved, and they never ever start the fights, but they always try to, like, help, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. And like we said before, we have our armies set for whoever we need to back us up in a fight. Honest to God, there's going to be so many people that I would love to have during a quote-unquote zombie apocalypse, and they're mainly going to be wrestlers. I would love to have the Scottish Terminator, Drew McIntyre, just as... Oh
my God, yeah, he's huge. Have you met him before? He's so big.
He's on my bucket list of people I need to meet before calling it a day.
Oh, and again, see, he's a big, scary-looking dude, but he is the nicest, most lovely dude ever. Wonderful guy. I'm so proud of him.
I am still thankful that I got the chance to interview him all these years ago, and hopefully get the chance to at least talk to him and be like, dude, been a fan of you for a long time. Just keep up the amazing work. Just be absolutely...
Yeah, it took him so long to get, to his rightful place where he is now, and honestly, I'm just so excited for him. It's a weird time that it happened, but yay for him. Team Drew. Team
Drew all the way. Number 9, we have every hug turns into a belly-to-belly suplex. Some people like it rough in the bedroom, so why not? I think that's all I got to say.
Again, we're not here to judge.
But I'm just imagining that, and it's actually kind of crazy because I see this and I'm reminded of that scene from. Have you seen the series on Vice? Dark Side of the Ring?
No, you know what? I didn't even know what it was until they followed me on Instagram, and I thought, "What's this?" And I watched. I went and saw what it was about, but I haven't actually seen a full show yet. No, how is it?
It is honestly. It is very good, but it's also one of those things that kind of tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. I've gotten the chance to watch entire season 1, entire season 2. Well, season 2 is still going on right now, and also Le Champion is the narrator for season 2. So that's one of those things that makes it even better. But hearing a lot of these stories where they basically talk about, they mentioned the Von Erichs, they've talked about Bruiser Brody, they've mentioned the Brawl for All. One of the things that kind of brought me into this deal was that during the 2-part Chris Benoit story, Vicky was actually mentioning how she and Eddie were actually doing wrestling moves in bed, and she said that was one of the best things that she loved. And I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? This is case in point right here. Vicky Guerrero has admitted that she loved wrestling Eddie in the bedroom. So,
well, hey, whatever keeps a marriage spicy.
Right, exactly. And I think it's a little bit less, painful than, just yelling at each other, but that's...
If you're going to settle it, at least, have a nice, decent match,
At least make it 2 stars. I mean, if it's 1 star, that's one of those things where it's like,
Yeah, throw some technical moves in there.
Oh, my gosh. We could make so many dirty jokes about just that item alone, but...
That could be its own podcast.
That is going to be... Oh, my gosh. Nate and Val's top 10 moves that you want to use in the bedroom.
like like a wrestling Kama Sutra.
Oh my
Vicky
god.
should write one. I'm not trying to, endorse her a big deal, but hey, married to a wrestler, that's, hey, she probably knows a lot.
So number 8 is that the hair dye budget gets excessive. Okay, so I'm going to ask...
Oh my god, that's every woman.
Well, that answers my question there, because I was just going to ask you how much hair dye you had to buy, especially to keep, the hair nice and bright and red. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, and it's such an expensive upkeep, but, I don't know any woman. I can't think of one woman that I know. I honestly can't. Any of my friends that had their natural hair color. So that's literally every woman. Whoever wrote this, listen, hate to break it to you, but all women are coloring their hair.
You know what? She's not wrong. I mean, I know that Leva Bates is not a natural blue hair, but in my mind, I like to think she is. I know, it's a shock. I found that out when she was wearing the blue pants. I'm like, what? She's not blue. What's going on here?
What a liar!
Oh my gosh! When this gets posted, I'm gonna just put a comment underneath that says, "At Leva Bates, you might want to read this. Val calls you a liar."
How dare you not have Smurf blood in you to have blue hair? Hashtag Smurf blood.
Oh my gosh! Now we're getting into a dark side of the podcast.
Sounds like a really cool name of an indie rock band.
Smurf. Now presenting Smurf Blood. It's just
Thank you, Chicago. We've been Smurf Blood. Good night.
Number 7. She'll retire early and be living at home with you. That's a problem. How?
Yeah, and what do they know about girls retiring? There's all kinds of stuff girls do after wrestling, so that shouldn't be a problem. I love how I'm defending every answer. I'm like, no, that's not.
It's one of those things where I just look at this and I think to myself, with certain people, I know that it's always rough to watch them kind of have that, kind of downward spiral where it's like, this is my life, this is everything I wanted to do, but that just means that, hey, they're going to be home with you, and you get to be the person that's going to support them no matter what, and show them that, hey, there's another life outside of wrestling that they will hopefully enjoy.
Right. And you know what? A lot of wrestling girls, I was having this conversation with someone recently, a lot of wrestling girls that are only wrestlers, they struggle more than, say, announcer types, because, if you can't wrestle anywhere, that's kind of your only skill, or, pretty much your only skill, then it's a lot harder, at least with hosting and stuff. That's what I loved about hosting. I was a manager first and foremost, but when I got into the presenting and announcing, I thought, oh my gosh, I could do this anywhere, and it's worked very well. But if I were only a wrestler, that's why it's so important to make sure that you have a backup,
No, definitely do agree with that. I think that, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember I think it was CM Punk, where he literally said, I was at the point in my life where, if I didn't, I didn't want to wrestle, I could probably work at Starbucks. I mean, they probably offer insurance anyway. That's for a different time.
That sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, that is something that he did say. He's on record to say that. Number 6, you're stuck listening to her complain about rope and canvas burns. So? I mean, rope and canvas burns suck. What more can you really add?
Yeah, and injuries, and being sore. I mean, my God, wrestling is so painful. That's the last thing she's going to complain about. And she'll always be, bruised up and cut up and sore, and it's a tough life. It
is a tough life, but it's one of those things where I could literally be that person that would be like, wow, you look kind of hot with some of these deals there. Obviously, if she had the black eye or the missing tooth, that'd be one of those things where it's like, wow, tough day at the hockey rink.
Yeah, Lisa had a black eye not that long ago. It was several months ago. It was last year sometime, and she was talking about how she's getting on a plane. I'm like, Lisa, what are people doing? You're walking around with a black eye. And, are you going to make up a story? And she was like, I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever happens, happens. It's kind of one of those things where you could just take an injury and just be like, oh yeah, I got into this bar fight, and then there's another story where it's like, oh yeah, there was this dude that was trying to get me, but I got him, but apparently one of his cronies tried to be a cheap shot,
Yeah. You could just tell everyone a different story, and maybe they'll feel bad for you, and then you get free stuff, who knows? Free airplane drinks or something, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. If that was the case, I would legit just be bawling of laughter just hearing that Victoria just literally getting free air drinks just for a black eye story. I
bet she could be really convincing. She's such a storyteller. That would be so funny. I'm going to suggest it to her. Granted, she's retired, but still.
Oh my gosh. Now it's going to be a situation where I want to meet her and I want to have us do like a story off, or who could tell the most insane story about an injury, something like that.
We need to get her on this podcast. Why have we never even thought about that? We need to do like a triple threat podcast. That'd be hysterical.
I would be scared for my life just because of the So, but I will say this, Lisa, Victoria, you're more than welcome to come on the show. If we can make that happen, I would definitely probably mark that off of my bucket list, because and
Melina too. I mean, think about the Q&As and like we were talking about the show we did. It was like we would have different themes every time, like dating show and this show, and talk about movies and all this stuff. So they have a wide range of knowledge outside of wrestling, but they're so great, and they're great to talk to.
Oh man, I'm just imagining just the three of you and me doing a podcast, and all I'm thinking to myself is, wow, I'm going to have to be careful and tread lightly on what I have to say, because A, one of them is friends with these people, B, one of them could probably kick my ass, and C, one of them can basically sweet talk me to death.
Well, hey, that's a skill that not everyone has. I'm saying cheers to that with my drink here.
So at number 5, we have having to lie to her about how nice her costumes looks. So here's the thing about this. They have like little pictures for a lot of these, and on this one, it basically just shows the Bella twins. I believe that's Summer Rae and Alicia Fox all in like Halloween costumes. So I'm guessing it was probably during like a Halloween battle royal of some sort. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and everyone knows that guys hate sexy Halloween costumes. Are we kidding? Who is this guy kidding? I mean, come on.
I mean, there's probably some costumes or some attires where they're thinking like, oh, I thought like the frills here would look really good. I would think that this design looked really great, and we'd probably have to be that person who's like, oh yeah, totally fine. And then as soon as they get to the arena, it's one of those things where we're getting a massive text message that says, people hate my attire. Why didn't you warn me? It's like, I got nothing.
But that's the problem being like the boyfriend, is it would be like it's your job to be like, you look great.
It's like, what? No, those people don't know what they're talking about and stuff.
You just have to use that line. They're all just jealous.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to remember that line. Just be like, all these people just think I'm stupid and blah blah blah. They're all just jealous.
It's like on Family Guy when Lois complains about the people she works with, and then Peter's just like, they don't understand you. They're just jealous. Because it's like all these canned husband responses. They work every time. Works like a charm. If one fits all, you can always say they're just jealous, and it fits perfectly.
So number 4, it said never being able to say, but it's fake. Now I assume that when they say that, they're talking about the wrestling. If it's something else, good luck with that relationship.
Yeah, best of luck. We wish you.
But in all honesty, I've come to grips with knowing, it's not entirely real. I mean, they've talked about the predetermined deal. Honestly, listening to Christian and Booker T on the I think it was the reality wrestling podcast that they did, where Christian has mentioned the fact that he absolutely hates the fact that people have said, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake. He hates that word. He understands, it's predetermined, but he calls it more a work than anything. And honestly, guys, definitely check that podcast interview because it's one of those things where they talk about Ronda Rousey. And we've already talked a little bit about her comments. I think less said about that, the better. If you want to be entertained.
Well, I'm such a huge Ronda Rousey fan, considering she, refers to other women as biatches. So, don't even get me started. You know my thoughts.
Oh, my God. If there comes a day where somehow you manage Ronda Rousey, I am looking forward to seeing what happens in that deal. Whether you're just...
I'd like to manage her wardrobe. Because, girl, she needs it. Seriously.
Oh, my God. I could see that just basically happening, and then she just tries to break your arm, but then out comes Drew McIntyre. But, Nate, we can't have men-on-woman violence. It's 2020. Shut up. And it's Ronda Rousey. Just also shut up.
I like this fantasy booking. I'm digging it.
Claymore kick. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre becomes a Raw Women's Champion. What?
Don't ask questions. He does have great hair.
Oh, man. He's holding the Raw Women's title in the WWE Championship. Just holding it forever. Let's see here. Number 3 is everybody knows she can kick your butt. That goes without saying, though. That's the thing. It's one of those things where I even know that even Val could kick my butt. She's been a manager. She's been in the ring.
I'm pretty scrappy, I must say.
She definitely knows how to take names, kick ass, and make you cry. And that's just her talking.
And then make you pay the bill for it all. And then make you pay for dinner as an apology. Perfect. That's how California works. It's like, oh, did I break your arm? Okay. I'm going to go to Prada and spend all your money.
Just take the wallet. Oh, my gosh.
I was actually just beating you up so I could take your wallet. Bye!
Oh, man. I feel like there's going to be like a Dark Side of the Ring California edition where there's just like this unknown stories of you beating up people, taking their wallets, and this is how you're able to hop over to England, start a new life, and just...
Yeah. No, I had to come here because I was fleeing from my enemies. You know, wouldn't it be funny if, like, I was this whole time, like, actually, like, a badass and could, like, fight better than anybody? It's not true, but it would make for a great story, I think.
It would be, like, the greatest work of all time. Just literally... Having that person who's like, you know, they suck in the ring. They're not very good as promos, but next thing you know, they can flip the switch and they just go absolutely Dean Malenko on everybody. Dean Malenko.
Yeah, like what if the person was like trained? Because now you know everything's not a secret. But what if somebody was like training for like months and months and months, and all of a sudden they just came out and they were like that, like an announcer, and you had no idea that they had skills? That'd be great. I'm sure they've done something like that, but it wouldn't be as funny as this would be.
No, you're right. I feel like that would be a perfect role for Byron Saxton, to be fair.
Well, it would. You know, he's a wrestler, first and foremost.
That's true.
Yeah, he's one of my good friends. He's a good wrestler. Like, you know, it's one of those things that he's a great announcer, but, you know, when he first got to NXT and stuff, they were pretty, and he tells the story, if I'm not revealing anything, they were pretty much like, well, like, you know, we need you to announce. And he was so good at that, it just kind of stuck, which, you know, good for him. But yeah, he was a wrestler first and foremost from the Florida area. My first shows ever in Florida, he was on them.
It's kind of funny because one of my favorite moments with Byron Saxton is when they were doing the you know, how well do you know your pro deal, and oh my gosh, the Derek Bateman Daniel Bryan stuff was funny, but one other moment that stood out from that was Byron Saxton. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember who his pro was, but maybe it was Dolph Ziggler. Who knows? I think it was where basically Matt Striker asked a question of, you know, if you weren't a wrestler, what would you be? And Byron Saxton just said, like, I think my pro would think that if I wasn't a wrestler, I would have a career as a singer. And Striker just goes, that was awkward.
Oh my god, how funny. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, I don't think. I mean, especially the fans that are newer, that are younger, that wouldn't have, you know, been around during those sort of FCW days.
Oh, no, you're definitely right. This is one of those few times where I look back at that season of NXT and I think to myself, wow, Derek Bateman, a.k.a. EC3, he had the gift of entertainment. They did not know what to do with him. Just, you look at everything that they did with him and Daniel Bryan, where it's like, everything they said, oh, it's right. And at the end, Matt Striker's just like, I don't trust you anymore.
You know, I forgot that his name was even Derek Bateman until you just said that. Like, that's a blast from the past.
And also, red, white, and blue pants. That was awesome.
Oh, God. He's been really interesting on social media. I don't know if you've seen. He's been posting some cryptic, fun stuff.
Have they involved the American flag pants making a comeback?
He's trying. I did a shoot in American flag pants for the 4th of July, actually.
You know, all due respect, you look great in them, but you don't look like Derek Bateman wearing those pants.
I'm never gonna be EC3 Derek Bateman level ever, and I try every day. I strive daily for that exact reason.
I mean, he got pants over. He got a barbershop quartet over. This is a guy who has so much untapped potential.
Totally, and it's weird. I mean, you know, I'm not sure if these releases, is it going to be just, you know, forever, or is it just for now? I don't know, but wherever he's going to end up, I'm sure he'll be happy. You know, Impact is going to probably gain a lot of great superstars, and AEW, of course, will. So I think, you know, we the fans are going to, you know, see something new. So that's kind of nice to shake it up, to look at it in a positive way.
Or we'll see something old, as in like Ethan Carter III make his return to Impact Wrestling and taking over and win the world title. You know what? I'm okay with this. I'm okay with Tessa Blanchard versus EC3 for the world title, honestly. I'm totally on board for this.
Yeah.
Number 2.
He's so good. He's so good.
In the ring as well as entertaining. EC3, champion for 2020. So number 2, we have she'll have temptation to date the dudes at work. I mean, there's a lot of people that have told the kind of story about, long distance deals don't always work out. Although I am very happy to say that there have been a couple deals where that has not been the case, i.e. Kairi Sane, she mentioned that she was in a long distance relationship and now she's married to her now husband, and they had a long distance relationship, which I thought was pretty awesome. It's like, okay, there's still hope for me. There's still hope for me to find someone.
Are you kidding? I mean, I moved to England. It was a long distance relationship for quite a while, and anything's possible if you're really in love. Now, did she marry a wrestler, or was he just a civilian, as Jinder Mahal would call it?
I think it might have been a wrestler. It could have been a civ, for all we know. I really wish I would have gotten my information up on this because I feel like I'm just lacking at this point. But yeah, in all honesty, it was just one of those things where she mentioned that and I'm just like, oh wow, that's awesome. Very happy for you. B, there's a part of me that's also crying because the most adorable person in WWE is now off the market. And
yeah, she's so cute.
She is literally one of those women who can look good in anything. She'll literally be like one of those people that was like, I want to hug her forever. I want to have like a mini me of her that I can just put into my pocket and then just break out every now and then when she can kick everybody's ass. Yeah,
she's one of those that just looks so cutesy and like girly and sweet, but oh my gosh, what a talent.
So for those that are kind of curious about number 2, there is that temptation, but as long as you're doing your job in the relationship, then they're not going to have that temptation at all.
Exactly. People, that kind of stuff and worrying about it is futile, because if someone's going to do it, they're going to do it. It's not because they got some hot guys at work and whatever, If somebody really loves you, they don't do that, period.
I mean, you still work with a lot of hot guys, but it's not one of those situations where it's like, oh, I want to leave my husband so I can date, Stu Bennett or something like that.
And it's actually Stu Bennett. Somebody asked me at the WF tour if he was like my husband. I was like, what? Where's that ever been linked? What are you talking about? So funny. No, but I mean, especially as a single woman and as a married woman, you can always appreciate like someone's like, oh, they're a good looking guy, but it's not the same, when you're truly in love and you're married, it's not the same. You can go, oh wow, he's a very attractive guy, he's a good looking guy, but you're not like, oh, you know what I mean? It just doesn't, it switches off for me, when you're with somebody, that's how it should be. And if it doesn't, you might want to worry. You might want to reevaluate.
Okay, so I have a challenge for you, Val. Anytime that you and Wade, a.k.a. Stu Bennett, hang out, I want to hear at least one story where the two of you act like you are husband and wife, and just... I just
hilarious.
Oh my God.
He's so funny. I felt like I knew him before I met him, actually. Like, he's really good friends with Nick Aldis and Drew and Sheamus and those guys who I all know, and it's so funny that he, like, before I met him, I was like, when I did meet him backstage at WWE, he literally kind of like looked at me and I looked at him and I go, I feel like I know you. He goes, I know, I was thinking that. Because we just know all these mutual friends. And he's such a nice guy, but I never worked with him until WOS. I just kind of met him backstage at WWE one time. And then he came to WS and it was like I'd worked with him for a long time. He was so, like, easy to get to know. And just so funny. Like, just this dry humor. And honestly, one of the most talented, I'm talking like top 3, one of the most talented announcers I've ever worked with. He and Alex both are in the top. They're so good. They're so flawless and professional that I was nervous in the sense of like I want to make them proud because they're doing such a good job. So yeah, sorry to rant on it, but he's so talented, that guy, and just a classy dude, just a gentleman. And it's such a British thing to say, but it's not because he's British. I mean, I'm sure that helps, but he just really is a very classy dude.
Also, I want Stu Bennett on Cameo so I can just literally have him deliver some bad news to someone. I will pay multiple payments on Cameo just to see that.
He would rake it in on Cameo. I wonder if he's on it.
We'll have to look that up later on during the day. I don't think he is from last I saw, but if he isn't, I'm literally going to be like, Stu Bennett, you need to put a Cameo account because I will buy the first 10 at least.
Yeah, all from us.
So, number 1 is her strength and flexibility in certain situations is intimidating. I feel like that's
this guy sounds really insecure, huh?
Maybe so. But that's one of those things where I just see that I'm like, if ever there was a shot at a certain person, I think that this would be a shot towards Melina because she's one of those people that's the most flexible. And yep. she definitely knows how to... I will say there is still a funny picture that I keep looking back on and posting up every now and then where I'm doing like the quote-unquote Santino split where I try to do it it fails. She kind of giggles, and Zelina Vega's just like, yeah, this guy, he failed. It's so...
That's so funny. And you know what? Like, she is, but, to most guys, I think that would be a plus. Like, it's like guys who are married to, like, yoga teachers and stuff. Like, they're very flexible, and, not to be graphic, but that helps in a lot of situations. Just saying.
I mean, it helps you adapt to any environment, really. Let's be fair.
Exactly.
I think if anybody's flexibility would be kind of an imitating factor, I think it'd be John Morrison's, because he can do parkour, and he can almost do make anything into some kind of deal where he can just maneuver around it.
He's amazing as far as in ring flexibility and just in ring move sets. He's so good.
And I'm so thankful that they used him the right way this past WrestleMania, because I was literally thinking okay, they've not used him at all very well since he came back. Please let this be the one. And then after the match is over, okay, he's getting back on the right track. They're showing the fact that he is freaking amazing. Otherwise, the people would have been like, well, if you could pick one matchup where he was still pretty amazing, where would you pick? It's freaking the last Water City Wrestling Con show where he faced off against Logan Lynch, and he was just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you have a guy like Logan Lynch who is just a brute strength dude, and you have Johnny Morrison, who's John Morrison, a.k.a. Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. Johnny Impact, a.k.a. Johnny Oshkosh, a.k.a. Johnny ACW, whatever they want to.
He's got a lot of names.
he definitely has a lot of names. So,
but his middle name is Louise, don't forget that.
Johnny Louise Morrison. Why does that fit so well?
JLM. I have no idea. You know what? He's another one that, funnily enough, I met a few times, but never was talking to him much. And then he was on 5-Star Wrestling, and I was just having a conversation about 5-Star recently, and I was like, those are some of the most fun shows ever. And I didn't know him well. I didn't know Justin Gabriel well, and Jake Hager, Jack Swagger. I don't remember what I actually call him I forget what I call him in real life. And I think his name is Jake. Anyway, yeah, I think it's Jake. Anyway, those guys are just it was the best thing to come out of those shows was getting to know them. They're so nice, and they're the types that I never really worked with them and traveled with them. But if I were in WWE, I know that those guys I would have gotten along with really, really well. No,
I could definitely see that. All right, so unfortunately, we're out of time this time around, Val.
We hate that time.
We definitely do hate that time. But it has been another wonderful time getting the chance to talk with you during this quarantine deal, getting a chance to talk about this random list. We now know that it is full of very interesting deals. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I will probably look back on and just remember every single response that you have, because it's freaking hilarious.
That list was so much fun, and I hope that we, to the people listening, I hope that we could, be a little beacon of positivity and hope in this crazy time. And, my favorite thing about this time, like I said, is everyone's communicating a lot better and being more positive. So let's keep that going. And Nate, always here for you. I know we're both bored in quarantine, so happy to chat. And I thought this was the perfect way to spend a little Saturday evening and, catch up with one of the besties. So thank you, Nate. This was so much fun.
It was absolutely awesome. And I will say this, that we are actually approaching a very special time for you and me, Val.
Oh, yeah? That's right. Oh, my God.
Yep, it's going to be a 5-year anniversary that since I first had you on the show. It'll be in June, actually.
Yeah, you know what? Skype or Facebook page or something sent me a reminder of one of those on this day or something. Maybe it was a post that we had made. How funny is that? That's so cool. And you know what? I feel like we've elevated our game here at the Game Changer, and I've been just honored to be on the show. And just like I said, it's always a giggle fest. We can't help it.
Definitely. So, guys, you could probably expect us to do something very special for the 5-year anniversary. And before we go, Val, I'm going to let you do your shameless plugs. How can people find you? And do you have anything crazy or wild that is going to be happening despite this quarantine?
Ooh, well, I am obviously on Twitter at SoCal Valerie. I'm on Instagram at official SoCal Val, and my website that I share all of my exclusive photos, videos, chats, all of that is patreon.com/SoCal Val. I did a few teasers of my Glow wrestling photo shoot, and the rest of the pics are coming out this week, and technically next week. And I've got a workout video that I did, a little music video working out. So I hope that you guys enjoy that on Patreon, because I had a ball filming it. You know what? Doing customs in my own house is my new favorite thing. So I've had a great time.
It does definitely sound that. And guys, I cannot recommend any more than ever just to go check out our Patreon. It's absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. You can follow me on Twitter at RealFNGame. You can also find me, as well as many other people, at Addict_Wrestle, Wrestle Addict Radio. It's always fun listening into their stuff. But until then, for SoCal Val, I've been Nate the NateFNGreat, a.k.a. Petty Guerrero, a.k.a. Nathan Louise Grunman. And we're out of here. We're going to have ourselves a fun time in quarantine. And we'll see you guys quite possibly for the 5-year anniversary show. Because why not?
Yes.
So,
we'll celebrate together.
Definitely. So see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.